All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are not live. I don't know why I say that every time.
We're live.
We're live.
Currently live.
To each other.
When you see this, though, we won't be live anymore.
It's not live.
But right now, we're live.
Right now, currently to each other, we are live. Welcome to Relaxed Retro Talk, episode, I think, 28. Be sure, if you enjoyed these, be sure to give them the old thummy in the bummy. And let us know in the comments what you think of these. This is probably going to be the weakest point in our growing up with series because neither of us really grew up with either console, honestly.
No, these two consoles came out at a time where you had to pick a lane. When you were gaming, you picked a lane. And for me, I didn't pick either of these lanes. My older brother jumped on board with the GameCube.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. But unfortunately for me, I was heavy duty into the Xbox and the PS2, and I didn't really have a whole lot of time for any of these other things. I had Caution Dukey. I never really grew up with either one of these systems. I was adjacent to them at best. But you've at least owned. Do you own a GameCube too?
Yeah, I do actually. I was gonna say I don't.
At least you plays
GameCubes, but.
You own them. Well, I mean, I guess if we count that, I have a Wii.
Yeah.
I don't have any GameCube games for it, though.
Yeah. So, kind of like I didn't grow up really with either of them either, really. But I did have, I would say I had, the Dreamcast came out first. It was kind of the first console of that generation.
Yeah. They rushed it.
Yeah. And it would have been 99, I believe, because it was like September 99. Yeah. So
I'll never forget that.
I played it. There was one of the kind of like rich families in our hometown had a Dreamcast, and so I would go over to their place after school and I would play. They had Sonic Adventure. They had Jet Set Radio or Jet Grind Radio. I think they're the same. Jet Grind
Radio.
Yeah. And then I think that's all they had. That's all I remember playing over there. They might have had other games, but we played a lot of that. Played a lot of Sonic Adventure because I went from like only playing like Sonic on the Genesis, and then basically like there was no Sonic games until Sonic Adventure, other than like shitty spin-offs like Sonic Spinball and stuff like that, right? And Sonic 3D Blast, which is still, they're both on the Genesis. So I mean, past the Genesis, there was nothing really going on.
And Sonic Adventure was a fun game.
Yeah, well, especially at the time. At the time, it was like
there was nothing like it.
Yeah, it was mind blowing at the time because you could only really imagine what a 3D Sonic would have played like at the time, and then when you actually went and played it, it was pretty freaking cool. Like it's got that hub world with all the people in it and stuff, and Sonic's like interacting with like this city, and the big bad like Chaos is an excellent boss. If you check out, I did like that top 10 Sonic games video. I kind of mentioned how perfect Chaos is, like just such a good final boss, like final villain, because he's basically like a force of nature. Like he's a fluid beast basically that destroys the city and everything. So
nice.
It's a nice step up from Dr. Robotnik, right? Like
it was a big shift, right? They took a lot of risks. I think it paid off for them.
I think so.
The only real game I knew about the Dreamcast at the time, I used to work at the local convenience store in our small hometown, and there was this guy that worked road crew who would always come in and get a cherry Pepsi Slurpee or a Dr. Pepper Slurpee. Like that was his jam. Every day come in and that's what he would get. Anyway,
the Dr. Pepper ones were so good.
They're dynamite. They're dynamite. He had great Slurpee choice, let me tell you. But he would come in and he was talking about how he got this Dreamcast, how the Dreamcast was the best console out of the three. My older brother worked there at the time. My older brother was a PlayStation head, right? And he was like, no, we're going to get the PS2. PS2 is going to be so much better. He's like, no, you're ridiculous. The Dreamcast is going to stomp this year. And he was talking about this game called Seaman.
Oh,
was this creepy freaking game.
Yeah,
where
it's weird.
The game came with a microphone, right? And you talk to this thing. So you like get an aquarium, and then you get this little alien thing. It goes into the aquarium, and then you talk to it, you feed it, you interact with it, and it's one of those like living pet games.
And he like evolves and stuff.
He evolves, yeah. It's insane. If you ever get a chance to look out on YouTube, that was actually one like fragment of the game. The game actually has multiple sequels in Japan. Like there's like a whole world of like this Seaman type game. I don't think it did very well over here. Seaman. And I don't think it did very well over here in North America, but it was an incredibly unique game. And I always remember him talking about that game. And that was like, man, I should really check this Dreamcast thing out. I didn't really know any of the other games that were there until like way later, way past its life cycle. Was when I finally started learning a little bit about the Dreamcast. But at the time, there was really nothing that like interested me. It was mostly fighting games and racing games, and it was just stuff that I just wasn't interested in. Sports games, a whole lot of sports games. The only other title that I was even aware of, because we used to watch like they used to have like game review shows on
like
TV.
X-Play and stuff like
X-Play,
the
but
Show.
Before it wasn't X-Play, it was something I can't remember the name of it. Game Nation stuck in my head, but that was
it Reviews on the Run? Remember that one?
Reviews on Talarico. The only other game that I know was Shenmue for the Dreamcast.
Oh yeah, I can't believe I forgot about Shenmue.
Supposed to be an absolute phenomenal game, a story-based action. What do you call that when you have to hit the button in the right order? Time event. Game.
Yeah, there's like quick time events.
Yeah. And it was supposed to be just like phenomenal. And that one also almost got me in with the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was too young to afford multiple consoles, like we were saying at the beginning of the
especially like at the time next gen console. You know what I mean? Like it's
I
one thing to
Dreamcast was what, $399, $299?
Something like that.
I mean, that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, especially for a high school kid or something like that, right? Like that's a ridiculous amount of money.
100%.
The thing, Shenmue, I think, got a lot of people to buy a Dreamcast.
A lot of people jumped on board.
Because there was no game like that back then. Like, you could argue maybe Grand Theft Auto, but not really. Like, even Grand Theft Auto didn't become what we now know it as until the PS2.
It was nothing like it.
Yeah.
Honestly, even past that, right?
Yeah.
I think the PS2 had Grand Theft Auto. No, you're right. Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City. That was all PS2, but it really didn't. Even in those days, it was still kind of run around the city.
Yeah, it didn't have like such a strong like narrative and interaction. Until the next gen
that you had GTA 4. I think there was what was the one? What was the other Grand Theft Auto? I'm missing the one in between here. The one that had the hot coffee mod.
San Andreas.
San Andreas. I think San Andreas was like the turning point for Grand Theft Auto. When they shifted away from what they were into what they were about to be, because that actually had that kind of story and stuff.
And it was more like you could interact more with the community, like Shenmue and stuff like that, and it was kind of all about just living in that world, right? There's a guy I've been watching his streams pretty much I usually work out on my lunch hour and stuff, and I've been watching his streams for like probably over a month or so now. I think it's just Yosh Games Live or something like that.
Okay.
But he played through all of Shenmue 3, which is like the newest one.
Nice.
And man, it's just like it's just like kind of like a chill environment. It's got its own like kind of world and story that you live in, and it's pretty cool. I would say the equivalent now, like even like on the PS2, the equivalent after the Dreamcast died would be like the Yakuza series, right? Or
I
like
think
a
so
Dragon.
Too,
yeah,
like the spiritual successor.
Right? I think it is. Yeah, it's essentially the spiritual successor. But still, at that time, there was nothing close to that at all.
No, it was a very, very unique game.
Yeah, and it really it's kind of sad that the Dreamcast failed, because that kind of game is what went on to become like super, super popular, even in the PS2 and then PS3 and into today, really.
Exactly. Well, and the other thing too that's funny, well, maybe not funny, but the thing is, there's a lot of talk about the next generation of Xbox, like where they're going next.
Right.
And there's a lot of talk and comparison about Xbox and the Dreamcast, to the sense that the Dreamcast was Sony's last hardware entrance.
Sega's.
and then, or sorry, thank you, was Sega's last entrance into the hardware market, and then they shifted and they were like, you know what, we'll just license our games out, and then we'll release it on other people's systems. We'll still make it. And Microsoft has said that they have yet to pull a profit on their hardware. They lose money on their hardware and they get their money back on their software. With the advent of Games Pass, there's a lot of discussion that they're going to be shutting down the Xbox hardware.
Yeah, there is a lot of...
And going the way of Sega, right?
Yeah,
like this, like the path that's already made.
Whispers of that, definitely. Yeah, I know. So they just had their, I think it was last week. Now they had I don't know if it was what do you want to call it, a press release or whatever, but
yeah, it's basically their E3, but not E3 anymore.
Yeah,
thing.
And they basically said that. They haven't said that particularly, but they have said that they're going to be bringing some of their games to like PlayStation and Nintendo and stuff like that. And I don't even know if they said PlayStation, but I know they said like Switch, I'm pretty sure. But so, and it's not going to be like brand new games. It's going to be like, remember when the GameCube came out and you got like Resident Evil 4 and everybody bought a GameCube to play Resident Evil 4 and then a year later it came out on PS2? I think it's going to be like the timed exclusive thing is what they're going to go for, because they might as well. And PlayStation's been doing it on PC for like a while now too, right? Where everything's kind of timed exclusive. And I think that's a good thing. I think... you might as well make that money, right? If you've got the game released out there, you've got your exclusivity like payout. You've got whoever wants to play the game first is gonna buy that console. It still gives incentive to own that console, but at the same time, after the first probably month or 2 months of a game's release are where the most sales are. So you can kind of double dip that like new release purchase, right? So I think that'll help definitely in the long run. What I hope doesn't happen is I hope that they don't stop making consoles, because once you only have PlayStation doing trying to keep up with the PC level of graphics as the only console, then they can be as shitty as they want, right? If you don't 100%. Have competition, everything kind of sinks. And Nintendo, I really hope that Nintendo kind of keeps what they've got going with the Switch, but also improves the graphical and frame rate capability and stuff like that. I don't even need like PS5, PS6 quality graphics from the Switch 2. I just need like PS4 quality. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I think that for me, it's always been less about the graphics and more about the quality of the game.
Yeah.
Right? Like if we talk about, I know we're zipping off into current gen, but if we talk about what the garbage heap that was released as Pokemon Scarlet Violet, right?
Yeah.
The game itself, and folks have hacked their Switches and played the game, and it runs significantly better by releasing kind of like these memory locks that they had on there, and like running it on better hardware. And
I've seen people playing it on like their Steam Deck, and it runs better on the Steam Deck than it does on the damn Switch.
And it's just because, like, if you think about it, the Switch is essentially an Android phone, right? Like that's the amount of processing power that's inside of a Nintendo Switch, right? I don't think Nintendo's going anywhere. If anything, they've got a good thing going with kind of this like combo thing where it's both a mobile system and a console at the same time. I really don't see them moving away from that.
No, I don't either.
I do see them improving the quality, the hardware. I don't know how many more generations we're going to have here, though. If companies start dropping off and going to service, then what we might end up having is companies offering basically like a client PC kind of thing where you just sign into it. You sign into your Sony account on this thing and you get access to PlayStation. You sign into your Microsoft account on this thing and you get access to Xbox. You sign into your Nintendo and you get access to your Nintendo games, right? Like,
which I hope never happens, honestly.
I hope not, but I think that's where it's going, because the companies don't want to have physical stuff anymore.
No, they don't want you to be able to. There's so many reasons why they don't want you to 100%. Either. Like,
pulling the licenses back is the current problem.
Yeah. Yes. So like they don't want you to be able to buy games used right? Because then they're not making money.
That's always been a problem.
Yep.
Used and rentals.
Yeah, but I mean, you have the right to fucking something you buy to sell. Like, if you buy a car, you're not going to be like, oh, I got to get a new car, and you have to buy it from a dealership, and then you can't use your car. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's the market's getting so anti-consumer, and I do feel like we are possibly destined for another video game crash, because even these like AAA games aren't sustainable anymore, kind of thing, right? So it's kind of going that route, and it honestly might be better for it. I think the indie developers will be fine, and that's kind of what we might end up with for a little while, until the big developers kind of pull their heads out of their asses and figure things out.
100%. Like, you see what Ubisoft said about their games, right? Like, basically along the concept of like, you don't actually own the game when you buy it. Yeah. And you guys need to grow comfortable in the aspect that
not a chance, dude.
That you don't actually own these games, and we can pull them back anytime we want, right?
And like, they've done that. They've historically done that. Look at Scott Pilgrim. I had that on PS3, and they just pulled it, got rid of it.
Just decided
you couldn't play it,
done.
And then released it like 10 years later on the Switch and stuff, and so you could buy it again. Like, I hate Ubisoft, and I can't. Basically, what it boils down to, and people have been saying this online ever since that press release came out, is if purchasing isn't owning, then piracy is completely fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with piracy, because paying for something, if you don't own it, then what's the fucking point?
Yeah. It's got to go both. Yeah, it's got to go both ways. Either I own it, or I don't own it. And if I don't own it, then nobody owns it. Yeah. Right? Like, and so so I think I butchered their quote, but they said something along the lines of like people need to get comfortable with not owning games, right? Yeah. Like, you're gonna rent them from us. Yeah. You're gonna pay us money to use this as a service, and then we're gonna pull that service away. And you're just gonna have to suck it up, Buttercup, because
rebuy it when we release our new service 10 years down the road,
or not even, right? Like, I mean, you think about how far down the road it could possibly go. They could be set up in a way that you rent the game from the company at $1 per day situation.
Right. Here's the game. Monthly subscription. Or
monthly subscription. But right now it's a catalog. It could easily turn into it's $2.99 for the game until you decide to check it back into us.
Yeah. It's not going a good route for consumers, that's for damn sure. But rolling back to the old Dreamcast.
So the Dreamcast, I think some of the other things I never owned a Dreamcast. Let's start there. I thought the controller was a really cool idea because it was
the VMUs.
Yes. So the controller itself, and then the ability to socket in your memory card, which acted as its own little gaming platform as well.
Yeah, some games it had buttons on it and you would do stuff. Yeah.
Right? I always thought that was just such a cool idea. The absolute dumbest decision they ever made was sticking the cord on the bottom of the controller.
Yeah, which is weird because then they reroute it through the top and there's a little clip there anyway, so I don't understand. It's
just to be different, weird. I guess. I don't know, but that's one of the dumbest things I think that they ever did. Was,
it's super weird.
Mounted
the Wii had the classic controller, and it did the same thing for some reason, didn't it?
Yeah. Wii, all of the Wii controllers mounted on the bottom. I get it for the nunchuck, right? Because you got it in one hand, you have a cable in between. That's fine, but to have a controller, I need that cord coming out the top. Yeah, because you want to sit back with that controller like here, right? And so having that cord busting in the gut nonstop, busting. The system itself was pretty small.
Yeah, it is very small.
Appreciate that it had 4 ports.
Yeah.
Multiplayer was like couch co-op multiplayer was something that was huge in this generation. Both the Dreamcast and the GameCube had it.
And the N64 kind of pioneered
that. The N64 had it. Yeah. The PlayStation was the only system of this generation that didn't. Well, I mean, I guess when the Xbox eventually did release, the Xbox also had 4 ports.
Yeah. I guess PS2 was the only one that
PS2 was the only one that didn't have it. And I don't know if they did sell a multi-tap, but I don't know if many games really took advantage
We
of
only
that.
used like the wrestling games. Me and my buddy, like Paul, we would play like the wrestling games, and you could have, I think, I want to say 7, but I could be wrong.
Right. Yeah. And that's something that's kind of slowly started slipping away too. I mean, as you would go into wireless too, then that wasn't such a big deal. But
and then an online play, like kind of
it's kind of molded. This was kind of the last jumping point before the systems were online only, right? This is the last generation of those games. Number one game, in my opinion, I think is a two-way split in my opinion. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and Crazy Taxi. I think those were the system sellers, aside from the ones that we already spoke about. Most people that I spoke to nowadays, when they speak about the Dreamcast that they owned, it was typically for one of those two games. The fighting scene on the Dreamcast was huge. There was a boatload of fighting games.
Yeah, that era had a lot of really good fighting games. Like,
right?
I think the Dreamcast strong point was it was basically, and this was Sega's plan right from the beginning, was so all the companies, they always release different like arcade builds. I don't even know what the terminology is.
Right.
And in the arcade you plug like this big thing, board into it, and
PCB.
Yeah. And their build that they were coming out with was called the Naomi. And so they wanted the Dreamcast to basically be an at-home Naomi. And so that's why the conversion from like arcade to Dreamcast was so almost like perfect.
They were really, really good.
Yeah, and it was just like super smooth. Everything was just really, really well done, and that was really their strong point. Because if you played a game that you enjoyed in the arcade, you could come home and play it like 1-to-1 on your Dreamcast with up to 4 players. And I think that's why they wanted the 4-player thing, because then you have that connection there, right?
It makes total sense.
Especially for like racing games, stuff like that. And I think that's why, like, for fighting games, like I had a bunch of fighting games on PS2 and on Dreamcast, and they just all play better on the Dreamcast. Like the Dreamcast 100%. Version is just better because there's nothing they had to change really to bring it to the Dreamcast.
Yeah. Most of the games ran really smooth. Like Crazy Taxi is ridiculously smooth for the game. Like that's just a fun game.
Yeah,
like
Crazy.
Fun to
I would
play.
argue Crazy Taxi 2 is better.
Probably.
I think everybody played the first one and was like, why would I buy this again? Like, it's probably going to be exactly the same. And it pretty much is exactly the same, just a little bit better.
It's just like they tweaked the game up a little bit.
Yeah, they added like a couple modes and stuff. But
did 2 come out on the Dreamcast as well?
I believe it did. Yeah, I think I have it on the Dreamcast, but I think it sold more on the PS2 because it was kind of at the tail end. I think it sold more on the other
systems. Yeah, because the Dreamcast was on its way out, I think, by that point, right? Yeah. Ready to Rumble Boxing was another one.
Ooh, I have that on my Dreamcast. Fuck yeah, that's
a good one too.
It's on the PS1 as well, but way better on the Dreamcast.
Way better, yeah. All of these games kind of tend to play better there. And then you had mentioned Jet Set Radio.
Yeah.
It's just funny, all the fighting games, right? Like there's Soul Calibur, Street Fighter.
Yeah, wasn't
Marvel vs. Capcom.
Wasn't Soul Blade or something like that on the Dreamcast?
Soul Blade was on the PS1.
Well, I think it was on. Was it on both?
It might have been on Saturn too. I don't think it was on the Dreamcast.
Okay.
I think the Dreamcast though was where Soul Calibur was released onto.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. It was the next game. It went Soul Blade, Soul Calibur, and I think they released it specifically on the Dreamcast.
I do have
Soul talking about the arcade.
Yeah, I do have Soul Calibur on Dreamcast. Yeah, it was just and it timed it perfectly because the fighting game scene was definitely like at probably its all-time high at that point. Like people would say definitely like people would consider like the golden era to be like Street Fighter 2 back in the day, but I really feel like fighting games as far as popularity were at their absolute peak in the Dreamcast, like when the Dreamcast came out. And the nice thing about the Dreamcast is a lot of, if you have like a PS1 game you love, like especially like a later PS1 game that you love, odds are it's also on the Dreamcast and looks and plays a little bit better on the Dreamcast. Yeah. There's a lot of games like that I've been finding, even myself, because there's games that like I didn't know came out on the Dreamcast that I grew up playing on the PS1, and then I went and I was like, oh, I'll grab this on Dreamcast, and it just plays better, looks better, and everything like that.
It really makes you wonder how the system would have fared with a DVD-ROM.
Yeah,
if they would have been able to put the DVD in there instead of going with the CD, it really makes you wonder whether or not they could have stuck it out for that generation. Because I really think the Dreamcast could have outdone the PS2 with that DVD. In my opinion,
it definitely could have outdone the GameCube. Really
100%.
Yeah,
easily. The GameCube, I don't think did as well. I think the GameCube survived this generation because the Dreamcast dropped out.
I think that and the.
You have Nintendo specials too. I mean, I guess that is always a system seller.
But even they were at an all-time low. Like
they were not great.
Like I feel like the GameCube for Nintendo was like the Saturn for Sega. Like
I believe
because you didn't even have like people will say that they like Super Mario Sunshine, and they're absolutely lying, or they haven't played it in a long time because it's a very not good game. And it kind of. It's like there's no like huge like when you think of the Wii, like I'm not a Mario fan like in the least, and I don't know how big of a Mario guy you are, but when you think of the Wii, you think Mario Galaxy. You know what I mean? Like Mario Galaxy. People
Galaxy 2.
Yeah, you've got Mario fans like all over the place stating that Mario Galaxy 1 is like considered to be possibly the best Mario game. Yeah. And like Sunshine was like a huge step back because you got people will say that Super Mario 3, Super Mario World, Super Mario 64, and Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Odyssey are the best Mario games of all time. Well, guess what? There's two consoles there that Nintendo really flopped, and those are the ones that had kind of shitty Mario games on them too, right? Like they weren't as high quality, even according to the fans.
Yeah. So, and I mean, when we talk about the GameCube, it's funny because the GameCube, I would always expect, like you said, the Nintendo systems would always have their Mario or Zelda games leading the charge. And it wasn't until, honestly, and even then, it wasn't until Wind Waker came out that people were like, yes, this is a great Zelda game. But at that time, people hated Wind Waker.
Yeah, because all the ads showed like a better graphical, like but dark art style, like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. And then when they came out with Wind Waker, everyone was like, "That's a baby's game." You gotta be
kidding me!
Yeah, because it was cel shaded.
Yeah, now folks will say, "Oh, what a great game! What a great game!" But at
everybody
the time,
hated it when it first came out.
Everybody hated that concept, and it wasn't until they actually played it and they were like, "Hey, this is actually a fun game. We're going to play it." But I agree with you. Now I'm gonna piss off a lot of Nintendo fans here. I did not like the GameCube. I don't like anything about the GameCube. I don't like the controller. I don't like the system itself. I don't like the fact that the games were on those little mini discs. I think that they made a lot of mistakes with the system. But looking back now, I can see some of it, right? Super Smash Brothers Melee, I think is still top of league for those folks that like Smash Bros.
Yeah,
anybody who is a Smash Bros person plays with the GameCube controller. Right.
Well, it was designed around that, right? For the most part.
That is their pro controller for Smash Bros. Is the GameCube controller. So I get it, right? The GameCube controller has always been too small for me. It's always not fit my hands comfortably, and I've just never liked it. But I understand. I'm not trying to tick the internet off here at this point, but I got to tell you, I personally think those were some big mistakes. The fact that they tried to make the GameCube into a portable system, it's not a portable system, but it's got like the handle on the back.
Yeah.
You've got the ability to put that monitor on the top. You've got all of this stuff.
About the monitor. PS1 had one of those too. Remember that?
Right. So why didn't they design a battery bank for it? So it actually could have been portable, right? Like, that kind of stuff didn't come till later. Metroid Prime was a
that was huge on
GameCube. Massive. I think that's kind of
that was definitely the system seller there. It
was. I mean, you know, you talk about Smash Bros. You talk about Resident Evil 4. You mentioned earlier.
Right,
you talk about
dude. Remember Resident Evil 4? I think it was the GameCube version. Had the chainsaw controller. And it was like a big fucking chainsaw. It would have been horrible to play the game on. But it was like this big chainsaw. And that was like the controller you could get if you like, I think it was like you had to like pre-order Resident Evil 4 or something. Man. Have you played Resident Evil 4 before or no?
I've started it and stopped it like a billion times. Resident Evil games aren't my thing.
Same.
I don't like them. And it's not because they're really, oh, are you scared? No, it's not that I'm scared. It's that the controls suck.
Yeah,
it's frustrating to play the game. It's like someone's walking down the path and there's Leon. He's like,
yeah, that is how that one is. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Like, that's pretty accurate. I was about to say that was the first one with good controls, but yeah, when you put it like that, they're just like, it's just always been bad, right? It's I heard that my thing, dude. I heard that game is really good on the Wii. Because it basically turns into like a light gun.
Like a rail shooter.
Yeah. I heard that's like the best way to play that and Metroid Prime.
Again, I'm not saying it's a bad game. I hate it. I've never liked a single Resident Evil game. Even the newest ones that they released still aren't really my thing. Even though they've now
they look good, but they don't look like for me.
Right? Like it's just they're games for that fan base, and that's great.
I like the story of them. I just don't like ever playing them. The only ones I did beat 4 when it came out on PS2, and I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it at the time. I don't think I'd be able to go back and play it again because that, like you said, that control style.
Yeah.
And then the 5 we played a lot. Like so Finney and Paul and Bubs, we used to go over to Finney's place and Resident Evil 5 was co-op like the whole way through, and we used to just like play through that game co-op and like over and over again. It was just a blast to play co-op. But other than that, I haven't touched like any other. Oh, you know what other ones are good? The Umbrella Chronicles and Darkside Chronicles, because they're light gun shooters, right? They retell the story, but as a light gun shooter.
They're arcadey. They're arcadey games, and I'm all in on that, right? I'm more about the way the game plays than the actual game itself, right? Yeah. Give me something fun to play. Another game that started its lifespan on the GameCube was Animal Crossing.
Oh yeah, no, was there an N64 game?
I don't think there was. I think it was a GameCube game, and I could be wrong. You could correct me.
No, I think you're right.
I'm pretty sure that started out on the. I
remember Bosley was addicted to that game, to Animal Crossing.
I mean, some people really connect with Animal Crossing, right? Like my buddy Matt built like a world in Animal Crossing. And some people just have a mind for it. I don't.
No,
I really don't. I don't have a mind for that, right? Like it's super relaxing to just sit there and just kind of build your world out, but it's not for me, man.
No,
like that's not how my brain works. Mario Kart Double Dash, also spoken of fondly. Apparently one of the better Mario Kart games out there.
But nobody really played it. Like I feel like that's the least played one.
I never played it, and I think it's because it's on the Dreamcast, right? Like
the GameCube.
On the GameCube. It was on the GameCube. Let's see. We were talking about Mario games too. The only game that I really have any familiarity with on the GameCube was Super Mario Strikers. I don't know if you ever played that.
Is that the soccer one? I've never played it. No.
It was a lot of fun. Well, I mean, the Mario sports games are always a lot of fun because they're always just kind of arcadey.
Yeah, Mario Tennis and Mario Golf on the N64 were really
dynamite
good.
games. Yeah, dynamite games, and they're fun too.
And no kids like golf, but we all played Mario Golf.
You play that. Well, it's because it's arcadey. They make it more gamey than Sim. The Paper Mario had released a game. At that point,
Thousand Year Door. I have the manual for that game for some reason. I don't know why. Okay. I think it came with my GameCube because I bought it at a garage sale.
And then honestly, outside of that, Luigi's Mansion, I guess, would have been the other.
That was a popular
that started
one.
There too. That was a good one.
Star Fox Adventures.
Right.
That most people didn't like. Yeah, most people did not like that.
I mean,
turned our friend Chad into a furry single-handedly. It did. I've had tons of people say that's the game that made them realize
that was the turning point.
Yeah, it awoke in their inner persona, if you will.
Oh my god. That would have been it for me. Like the Wavebird was the controller of choice, the weapon of choice. I think,
the wireless one.
People. A lot of people still speak fondly about the Wavebird.
It's the first wireless controller that worked good, that you didn't have to aim
really well.
Because we had a Genesis controller that was wireless, and you had to point it at the console like a fucking TV remote. Oh, it was brutal, dude.
Yeah. The thing about the Wavebird is it was heavy, it was bulky, and it didn't have rumble or anything in it because it was literally just wireless, right? For the time, again, you know what? Like, for the time, I get it. I understand why so many people like it. I don't like that controller. I really hate that controller.
The Wavebird was definitely less comfortable than like the regular GameCube controller because it had to like jam the batteries and stuff in there.
100%. I think what Nintendo did with the Pro controller for the Switch is literally like a perfect controller. That is ideal for me. Now, I know you don't like the offset joysticks, so I'm sure you would say that if the joysticks were on the same line, that it probably would have been better for you. But I mean, the controllers of the current gen, when we look at today versus what was back then, like you said, you know, you'd have those things you have to plug into the controller ends in order to make them wireless.
Those were awful,
like,
dude.
They're brutal. So at the time, I get it. Like, that's a proper wireless controller. And the cool thing with GameCube, and you touched on it at the beginning, is they carried that through to the Wii. The Wii was insanely popular, but they were like, you know what? How about we make it fully backwards compatible with the GameCube? And we'll put the damn controller ports on it. And so
that's true. That's cool. That's never really been done before or since. Hey?
No, nobody does that.
Because even like, I remember like when I was a kid, when I got my PS2, I tried using my PS1 DualShock DualShock controller in my PS2, the same end, and it didn't work. Yeah,
they had the same end. There's no reason other than money.
Yeah, like remember when Rumble is not the way of the future? When like the 6-axis came out, and then like two years later, they were like, "Ha! Now debuting the DualShock 3."
Yeah, that was a big blunder on Sony's side. They definitely dropped the ball.
It's like there's no reason not to, like, other than money.
My assumption was it
interfered with the 6-axis.
It interfered with the motion controls. They couldn't get the rumble to work with the motion controls.
Yeah,
and
that's what I hope it is. But I think maybe deep down it was just a money thing.
Money. But they doubled down on motion controls over rumble, and nobody wanted motion controls.
No,
nobody wanted to do this.
I had this
while
one.
They were playing the game.
I think it was like Blazing Angels 2, and you could control it by like doing it was like an airplane thing.
Oh, okay.
And it was kind of cool, but it still wasn't as good as just using the fucking joystick. It gets old after a while.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's gimmicky.
Oh,
right?
You know what was cool though?
I had Ducky game.
What? No.
You ever played the rubber ducky game where you have to tip the rubber duckies into the drain?
No, I never played that.
Oh man, that was a fun one. That was it was free on my PS3 when I bought it. It was a rubber ducky game.
I think it's called like Motor Storm, and you could steer the cars with like this.
Oh, okay.
That was kind of cool. But I do want to touch back to the Dreamcast quickly and just like. Because you said, when you mentioned you would have liked to have seen how it would have done if it had the DVD thing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people's arguments against that would be like the graphics weren't as good as the PS2. But we have to keep in mind that the Dreamcast only had a couple years to really...
It really didn't get its chance.
Yeah, so if you look at even like late Dreamcast games and compare them with early PS2 games, they're a lot more comparable than like a late PS2 game with like a late Dreamcast game. So I 100%. Feel like if they would have had that time, obviously the PS2 is going to have higher maximum graphical capabilities because it was released a little later. They had a little bit more like newer technology in it. But I think the Dreamcast was capable of a lot more than what it ended up having at the time.
I agree.
And as far as my journey with the Dreamcast, I got one. It was when I was living in Regina, which would have been maybe 2007, I want to say, 2006, 2007.
Probably about that, yep.
And that's when I ended up getting a Dreamcast. And I got this really shitty Evil Dead game. And I got what else did I get? I got Soul Calibur, like the original Soul Calibur.
Nice.
I got Marvel vs. Capcom. I want to say 1 and 2 because I don't like Marvel vs. Capcom 2, but I like the first one. The second one was just too chaotic for me.
Yeah.
And then I got Street Fighter Alpha 3 Max, I think, which I need to go and actually like play it because I love Street Fighter Alpha on the like the PlayStation and the PSP, but I feel like I've never really given 3 Max a chance, and maybe it's better. I don't know. And then Crazy Taxi, and I think that's all I kind of had when I first got it. And yeah, I got Sonic Adventure later.
And it's hilarious because like you think about what you paid for it back then.
Yeah.
I don't even think you could get just the Dreamcast for that now, right? Like,
because the gaming market went crazy.
It went
Retro
nuts,
gaming,
right? Like,
yeah.
I think in order to get a Dreamcast that's in good shape with all the cables and at least one controller and a memory unit,
you're probably looking at like 200, I would say.
About $200,
yeah.
150 to 250 bucks.
I bet I paid 30 for the console when I bought it.
I would agree, yeah, because I remember looking at them before, and it's like, oh, that's something I'll get that later. I'll get that later, and then. I would like to own a Saturn and a Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I missed out on those two systems. I really think Sony made it, or I keep saying Sony. I really think Sega made a big mistake with the 32X and the Sega CD.
I liked them, but yeah, I don't know.
Set them down. It set them down that spiral, right? Like they went from the Genesis.
Because they almost like console hopped like really fast,
and then
lost consumer
they jumped
support.
to the Saturn, and that's what happened. Is folks are like, wait a second, I'm not buying these systems if you're going to keep selling me add-ons I have to buy every single year. Forget that. Yeah. We're going to Sony, and boom, dead. Like
they lost consumer trust. Like definitely,
yeah. And so that I think that started it.
Yeah.
And then when the Dreamcast came out. By that point, folks were more informed, I think, too. Sony was making it crystal clear, like, look, we're coming out, but we want to give you the best system we can that has these things in it. And
so you'll have to. I remember them even saying, like, you'll have to wait.
You'll have to wait, but we promise you it's going to be worth the while.
Yeah.
And then 2001, the PS2 drops, and it just murdered everything.
Yeah,
like it just destroyed everything in its path.
It really did. And like the PS1 had a really big lead, even like
huge.
Yeah, which is crazy because it was a newcomer on the market too. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was very, very impressive. And I've kind of been like a PlayStation fan ever since. Like I was a Sega guy up until basically the PS1 era. Yeah, and I distinctly remember like my dad saying, no, we're not getting a Saturn. You just got a 32X. And right. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, but I kind of want a Saturn. But it was like, okay. I think they would have been smarter if they would have focused on the 32X and not even released the Saturn and just went to the Dreamcast. Because the 32X has a lot of untapped potential, especially when it comes 100%. To like sprite scrolling and like just sprite based games and stuff. Like they look great. Like they look great on the Saturn too. But I like if you play, I think it's like Afterburner 2 or 3 on the 32X. It plays so good. It looks so good.
Absolutely. Yeah, there was no need for them to go with the Saturn. I've always kind of wondered like that's spot in Sega history, the Genesis, the CD, the 32X, the Saturn. It was like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Right? Like Genesis, and then the rest. And I know they had to make some money up in between. The Saturn wasn't ready to go, and that's why they went with the CD and then the 32X. But somebody in that boardroom should have been like, "This is the dumbest idea we've ever come up with. We should take the hit for this year. It'll pay off down the road."
Yeah, and I know
it's easy to say that now,
but back then, Sega, and even I think to this day, Sega is very like self-sabotaging, and that's very unfortunate. So what happened back then was that everything's honestly like Sonic the Hedgehog 2's fault, because when Sonic 1 was like as popular as it was, they took a lot of the staff or a couple. I think it was a couple people that made Sonic 1 and moved them to the United States. And with a bunch of like American developers, they kind of like teamed up to make Sonic 2. And this is kind of where like the big split happened. So you had like a North American team and you had a Japanese team. And instead of working together, they would honestly like do everything they could to try and outdo the other and sabotage the other crew. So
dumb.
So even like you had Sonic CD was originally supposed to be basically Sonic 2, but that is mostly the Sonic 1 team, and then Sonic 2 and made the Sonic 3, like the guys that made Sonic 2 went on to make like Sonic 3 and Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And it was like there were parts like they were working on a Sonic game on the Saturn, and basically they were like asking for like the assets and stuff because they had 3D assets that they could have been using for the Saturn, and the Japanese dev teams were like basically like nah I'm good, and they were like, how the fuck are we supposed to make this game then? And that's kind of what sunk the Saturn. And the whole 32X, I can't remember, I believe it was the 32X was the Sega of America's idea, and Sega of Japan either wasn't even communicating that the Saturn was like going to be coming out soon,
that's what it was.
Or what it was.
They didn't even know that the Saturn was in development.
Yeah, and they were like, hey, let's get this out. We need something because we've got like the PS1 coming out and like all this
falling
stuff.
behind here.
Yeah, and it was like, and the Saturn did really, really well in Japan, actually.
100%.
And I don't even know if the Sega 32X was released in Japan. I imagine it was, but I don't think it did anything.
But not nearly. There was only how many games, right? Like 30 games.
I think there's only like 36 games or something like that.
Right. So I mean, it's unfortunate. And then with that road being set up, that was the road that the Dreamcast had to claw back from.
Yeah, shit.
And so they had to release a perfect console, in my opinion, to just break even at that point.
Yeah, and they kind of did, but then they got one.
They made a lot of good decisions, and then they cut a lot of corners, and that was the mistake. First system online, right?
Yeah, like Phantasy Star Online. Yeah, first home console.
It started so many things that we use today, right? And it's unfortunate.
It really was
kind of ended up
a
being
massive fucking innovator. Yeah. And then as far as the GameCube, my first encounters with the GameCube, I can't remember if it was at Finney's place or at Chad's, but
probably Chad's.
Yeah, so I don't.
They were huge Nintendo people.
Yeah, they were, and I didn't really think of that until even now. But they had every like Nintendo console. I don't know
all of them.
Yeah. And I know that I played a lot at Finney's, so we'll start there because that's where I played probably more of the GameCube, and it was honestly his younger brother Tom had Star Fox Adventures, and he had Smash Brothers Melee, and that's probably what we played the most. Was that. And then he did have a Fire Emblem game, I think, but I didn't really know what the fuck Fire
Emblem's never been my thing. It's I think you have to like a specific kind of RPG. Mm-hmm. It's not even like it's its own thing. I would struggle to even describe because it's a mix of an RPG and a strategy game.
Yeah.
It's kind of got a little sprinkling of everything in there.
Yeah, it's like a different style of tactical RPG.
And it's just so heavy with lore. Like, I don't care about your world. Just let me get in there and fight. I don't want to know all the... Then it was Jacob who then led to Samuel,
the 30th king. Right? I don't actually know fuck all about.
It's not my thing. But it's cool. It's never been my thing. Even the latest ones for the Switch, I've
heard they're always looked good, at. But yeah,
they look great. But I go to play it and I'm just like, it's not me. I've never really been outside of the Super Nintendo. I've never really been a Nintendo guy. Yeah, right. Same. Like the Nintendo systems.
Other than the NES, I've never been a Nintendo guy. Really.
Right? I mean, Pokemon had me pretty good. That was the reason why I bought the DS and the 3DS.
Mm-hmm. Nintendo knows how to make a good fucking handheld. That's what
the handhelds have always been dynamite, right? The Dreamcast just never. The N64, and I said this in the N64 one. The N64 and the GameCube just never. Like, I remember those systems came out, and especially the GameCube, going like, why would I buy this?
Yeah,
Why would I buy the GameCube when I could get the PS2 or I could get the Xbox, right? I remember having both the Xbox and the PS2 being like, I have literally zero reason to own the GameCube. I am not interested in Mario Sunshine. I am not interested in Wind Waker. I am not interested in Metroid Prime. All of the big heavy hitter games.
Yeah. So that was the other thing. I do remember his younger brother playing a lot of, and I don't even know if Finney really played the GameCube because it was his younger brother's console. But I remember his younger brother playing the shit out of Wind Waker, and I remember just watching him play like a lot of it, and deep down I was like one of those guys. I was like, this looks like a little baby's game.
The cell shading.
Yeah. But I also am not the biggest Zelda guy either, so like even if it wasn't the graphical thing that turned me off, I wasn't probably gonna buy a system for a Zelda game. Like I've never done that, and I never will. But Metroid Prime, I don't remember if he played that. Chad definitely played the shit 100%. Out of Metroid
All
Prime.
Three of them, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And that was a cool game to watch. I wasn't very good at playing it. It controlled really weird.
It's like all the other Metroid games. It's mazy as hell. I just don't know where the hell I'm going all the time.
Yeah, that too. But it controlled a little different because it was like, it was a first-person shooter, but it had like adventure-y elements to it, which was kind of cool at the time, but just not for me. We played a lot of so this is where most of my GameCube experience came from when I was like in high school, which was probably like the peak of the GameCube, I want to say. But maybe even after the peak of the GameCube. But so our buddy Chad lived, what would you say, like 10 minutes out of town, if that?
Give or take. Yeah. Give or take.
And he had Donkey Konga on the GameCube.
Oh, I forgot about Donkey Konga.
Yes, dude. And I would skip school all the time and go over to Chad's place and play Donkey Konga. Dude, we played so much Donkey Konga.
Congos?
And we'd yell because we found out that you didn't have to clap. It was just a microphone. So we'd be like, we'd be like, it was just like, oh man, we had so much fun. We played so much Donkey Konga. I think they made a sequel too, and I think we played the shit out of that as well.
They made either one or two follow-ups to it, right?
Yeah, and it was super fun.
Have you seen people play games with those stupid bongos? Like
no, but I've heard. Yeah, I've heard. I've never.
So funny, dude. It makes me think of Kami playing Doom with a freaking steering wheel.
That's what I thought of as soon as you brought it up. When he played Doom with an N64 steering wheel, and I think he played one of the Wolfenstein games with it.
No, it's just like I tuned into his channel the one time, and he's like, oh, we missed one. It's like,
shifts into reverse to back up. He's turning around. Oh my god, dude, that's the best.
So funny.
And then I don't even know how he would tilt because he played some newer games with it too. I don't know how you would tilt to look up and down.
I don't even.
With the old games, at least, like old first-person shooters, all you'd have if they're like up here,
directions.
You just have to go here, and it'll just aim them to shoot up top, right? Yeah. But with the newer ones, you have to actually look up and down and stuff. I don't know how the fuck you did that.
No idea. Brilliant, but yeah, Donkey Konga, fantastic. I remember playing that with you guys. I didn't play it with you guys nearly as much as you guys played it.
Yeah.
I do remember specifically thinking how weird it was to play a Chevelle song with bongos on a Nintendo system.
They had the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones and there's good music.
Selection of music, but it's just weird. Like the whole concept, everything that's happening in this moment, very strange.
It was very strange, but it was really good. Another game we would play over there a lot. We played Double Dash, I think, once. I think I've only played Double Dash one time. But I remember we would play Mario Party a lot. Because that was when we'd be drinking and having parties and stuff.
Mario Party is always a fun game.
And we'd go over there and we'd just play Mario Party, and that's where the whole buff bussers. When me and Matt were on a team or whatever, right? Yeah. And we were absolutely hammered.
Wash the buses.
Yeah, and you have a big bus buffer, and it is hard to say even sober, honestly.
Yeah.
And then we were buffing, and I think it was Matt was we're buff bussers or something like that.
The buff bussers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just man, we had. I think that was that whole era, the Dreamcast and the Xbox. I think I think I'll always in my mind remember those as the games we would play at like parties and stuff, because PS2 had a lot of like single player games and like JRPGs and stuff like that, and that's more my speed, right? But if you're going out having a few drinks, going over to a friend's house, you're always those were the two consoles I didn't have too. So if we went over to Finney's, we would play F-Zero GX on the GameCube, or we would play something on the Xbox, right? Like and they were multiplayer games, they were more arcadey, you could just pick up and play, right? And they're better for a party setting.
See, and that's why I want to go back and grab these. I can't do it until the gaming world calms down.
It's getting better. It's going down, but it's going to take a long fucking
understanding that like you're not going to become a rich millionaire by owning a copy of Super Mario 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know how many people own a copy of Super Mario 3?
Everybody.
The first couple of people through the gate, they made some cash money. Yeah. But as soon as the world woke up and was like, wait a second, we could do this too, it just went, meh.
Yeah, well, it was all artificially inflated. Yeah.
But I would like to play F-Zero GX. I would like to play those Dreamcast games. I would like to play a lot of these ones that unfortunately I skipped.
The another good thing. Well, first I want to finish off the whole like hanging out and partying and stuff. Yeah, I remember at Finney's place because he had the loft, right? Like it was like a bar basically that his parents made, and it was above the garage, which was originally like a barn, right? It was originally a hay loft, so we called it the loft. And we would always throw parties up there. And I remember we were playing, it was me and Paul were playing F-Zero GX, and I think we both passed out in the chair. and I just remember like waking up, and the car was just like riding. You know how you can just ride the wall, basically?
Into the wall.
Yeah, and we were both riding the wall, but he was winning because he was riding the wall forwards, and I was driving backwards several laps. And then like somehow Paul was like upside down, like, oh man, it was insane. And then I think that was the same night where we all went to bed, and we heard that loud bang in the middle of the night, and the TV was on top of Paul, and he was like, "Oh, the TV got me," and we're like, "What the hell?" Yeah, what? Like, how does that even happen? First of all,
I think he got up to go use the bathroom because you had to get up and go down that hallway through the door. And I think when he got up, he got a little too close to the entertainment stand and bumped into it.
And then it rocked onto him? Because, like, this was... People have to realize, if you're not from our time...
No flat screens.
No, the TVs were huge and heavy, and we had to, like, help get this TV off of him, and he's, like, laying on the floor. Oh, man.
This got me.
Oh, my God. What happened to my webcam? There we go.
There you go.
But yeah, dude, that's a fucking memory.
That was good.
Crap.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. I mean, the thing is I think it's less about like the system, like what you're trying to say is less about the systems, more about the time frame,
more about the memories,
more about the time spending with each other. And that is, I mean, to double back into what we were talking about, that was where it was nice to see 4 ports on the system.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because games then had the door open in order to utilize that. For a PS2 game to use 4 players, they had to sell you on the concept of a multi-tap. And if you didn't have that, you couldn't take advantage of it. And if that was important to you, then you're going to go to the Xbox. You're going to go to the GameCube.
Exactly. Right? You're going to go to a different one anyways.
Oftentimes, those game companies wouldn't do that in order to sell their game and their system with that game kind of thing. So
yeah,
I get it. I think these two systems, the Dreamcast and the GameCube, were both really, really good. Yeah. I think they did what they needed to do. I'm disappointed that the Dreamcast didn't get its full potential. I really think that it could have turned the ship around for Sega. But like you said, I think with the internal stuff that's going on, likely sunk the ship before it even left port, kind of thing. Yeah.
I think we're better off, like, as much as I love Sega.
I like Sega games on other systems right now.
Yeah, I think it would have sucked to have to buy 4 consoles to play all the games. You know what I mean? Like, I at the time, loved exclusives because it made things exciting, and it really did. But I think now, like, I personally, I could give a fuck. Like, I would rather no games be exclusive. I want to play all the games, and I want everybody to be able to play all the games on their preferred console. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But I think something you said just like a few sentences ago really like resonated and is very important. When you said it wasn't so much the games or the consoles, but it was the memories. And I think that's what this whole looking back at series of podcasts is really all about. Like, there have been like shitty games along the road that I have very good memories of, like Bubsy 3D. I played a lot of Bubsy 3D in my life, man, and it is a terrible game, but I had a lot of fun just fucking around playing Bubsy 3D. And there's just so many bad games that like
it's so bad.
Yeah,
it's so bad. But I mean that is exactly it, right? I mean the game consoles at that time, I look back fondly at that point in time in gaming.
Yeah.
Especially now, right? I think that as we go further and you know, we still have the rest of this set, but as we talked about the PS2 and the Xbox, we will eventually get to the online gaming.
Yeah.
When we jump into the next generation, the systems start getting designed around being online.
Yeah.
And then
terminally online.
And then you can't play your games without being online eventually.
Yeah.
Right? Like that ends up being the way that it gets to. And I really think that the games in this generation were some of the best that we've ever had, simply because the time and the effort that had to be put into it was much higher. Right now the bar is lower because they can release a buggy mess, Cyberpunk, right?
Yeah.
They can release it as a disaster and they'll just patch it over time and fix it. They'll just give you, here you go, here's your patches. It's 8 months after. Thanks for buying it month 1, by the way.
Yeah.
Here you go, you can finally play it a year later. That, while it happened sometimes, it was so unacceptable back then that it would be enough to destroy a company, right? And I think as a
they just wouldn't release it most of the times if it was like that.
or if they did, it would get pulled and then that would be the end of it, right? Like it was so rare to get a game that was so busted you couldn't play it, right? Or like a game like Final Fantasy VII where it's busted but it's still playable.
It's part of the charm. At this point,
it's not
right?
The ability to go back and hack the crap out of it.
It's not even. I wouldn't even say that's busted. It's just quirky. Like it's got little quirks.
I mean, like there's a lot of any of these games where you can do a lot of these glitches. To like, there's a part in Final Fantasy VII where if you hold a button while it's happening, you skip a section of the game.
Yeah, I know, but it's like nobody's gonna like find. It's not something that would naturally.
It's not something that would happen on a normal playthrough.
Whereas if you fire up Cyberpunk, whatever, when it first came out,
the first week of Cyberpunk, I kid you not. So I picked up the game, I'm playing my thing, and then my guy goes to pick up a bag. Okay, so the person's like, "Here, you got to grab that bag for us to continue going." I go to grab it, the bag falls through the earth and just disappears. So the quest is now uncompletable, and I'm like, I turned around to my partner to try and go and like see if I can find another way to it.
Yeah.
I turn around and my character's like, he just fucking floated away. He just composed and floated away, and that was it.
That's hilarious, dude.
It's so stupid. It's funny, but it's like that was an $80 game.
Yeah,
that game was sold to so many people. They sold it to folks on the Xbox One and the PS4.
Yeah, and it was not built for the PS4.
Which it was so broken that you couldn't even play the damn game. So, I mean, I think about this generation and previous as kind of the last few generations of games that you could actually trust, that even if you didn't know what that game was, you were going to probably have a good time with it.
Yeah, and I think that was the and we'll definitely talk to this more when we get to in the next episode when we get to like the Xbox and PS2. But that was also the last era where gaming, the like graphics and stuff like that, were to the point where they looked a lot more like realistic. You had a lot more polygons and stuff like that, but it still wasn't realistic enough to where you couldn't to where you were going to focus on it being like super serious and dramatic and stuff. Like you had the odd game like Metal Gear Solid 2, but even Metal Gear Solid 2 had a lot of goofy moments. And I think having like that a lot of times they had like an artistic style that they would follow because they weren't going for like hyper realism ever at that generation still, right? So you had where like I feel like this was the last generation where fun factor came first over other stuff, over like 100%. Performance and graphics. Like you could have like a janky mess of
the Board of Governors.
What?
Impressing the Board of Governors.
Yeah, like, right? Like you could have like a game that had a lot of jank. Like Crazy Taxi is a janky game, but it is fun as fuck. Right. Like you know what I mean? Right. Like these like arcadey, like super fun. The gameplay is either tight or not tight. Either way, it's gonna be a good time. Like the entire purpose of creating games at that time were for players to have fun and enjoy their time with the game, not to tell. And I'm a JRPG guy. I love a great story. That's like one of the top things that I love in video games is having a great story. But I love that like quirkiness. Like even 100%. Final Fantasy X has that stupid laughing scene. There's like a lot of like stupid little things in there. Yeah. Exactly. And like Final Fantasy What?
X2 exists.
Oh,
there was all kinds of crap out there.
I forgot about that one. Final Fantasy VII had like all the quirky fun stuff. Like that's the stuff I like the most about 7 is like fucking Marshmallow Man Barrett and fucking Red in the fucking that suit, and he's like going like this. Like all that stuff is what I like about that era, like the PS1, PS2 era of gaming. Because and even the Super Nintendo, like you just played Final Fantasy V not too long ago. Like that had a lot of that like super fun stuff too.
A lot of it,
and that disappears in the PS3 and on generations. I feel.
Yeah. Well, gaming companies started wanting to be safe. Right? Yeah. They want to make a safe bet. They don't want to take a chance on something that nobody's ever heard of. They want to give you Uncharted 17 because people have bought Uncharted 1 through 16. They want to give you Call of Duty every 6 months.
Yeah.
They want to give you Madden 7,500,000, 2,200.
But I also think a part of it is on the fans. Like I think
people become incredibly complacent.
I think that, and the fact that when especially the PS3 generation came out, that's where you started to see people that were like graphics whores. You know what I mean? Like nobody bought a game because it had good graphics until it happened a little bit on the PS1, maybe a little bit on the PS2, but it really like that PS3, Xbox 360 era, people would be like, this game is better because it looks better. Like the graphics are better.
The only time I think that would be correct for me is if I was playing, let's say, Mortal Kombat Super Nintendo versus Mortal Kombat Genesis. Same game,
right.
Better on the Genesis.
Yeah, it just looks better, but it's not like this is a realistic game, so it's better.
Because I'm not buying Mortal Kombat because the graphics are better in Mortal Kombat than they are in Street Fighter.
Yeah.
But if I'm doing a comparison between the two systems and determining which one to go with.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Right. Yeah. Like when it's the same game, but it performs better on this console, you're going 100%. To get it on that console.
If the graphics are better on the Genesis than they are on the Super Nintendo, because of the way that the system operates, then I'm going to buy it on that system.
Yeah.
Because it's better on that system.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to do with the fact that it has good graphics. That's not the selling point, right?
Yeah.
That would be the only time I think that it would be somewhat relevant, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Well, even like if you look at games that were released on the Dreamcast and then they re-released on the PS2, they all run better on the Dreamcast.
100%.
And then a lot of the it's funny because we're talking about the Dreamcast and the GameCube, because when the Dreamcast folded, they had Sega had an exclusivity deal with Nintendo, and a lot of the Dreamcast games, first place they went was the GameCube, and I think it was because it had more of a similar hardware than the PS2, where it was like it was more like there was more color, there was more like poly. I think there was more poly. I think similar to the PS1 and the N64, the GameCube I think had better graphical capabilities, but it was just not utilized in the way that we as gamers wanted at that time.
100%. Yeah, it is one of those things, right? But I don't know. I really would like to own a Dreamcast, and to I need to experience it. Like, I mean, anybody can get the copies of stuff out there or whatever. I need to experience those games the way that they were intended to be, right?
Yeah.
On the system, on a TV, with a controller in your hand, 6 feet away from the screen because they're cables instead of wireless controllers. Yeah. Like, that's the way that I think I need to. So I mean, I will eventually one day own that system, and I'm looking forward to that, to being able to play that.
I think another thing with because like there is a really, I don't want to say it here because I don't know how that works with like anything, like getting in trouble with anything, but there is a really
if you were to back up your games and play backed up copies of the games that you own.
There you go. There's a really good Dreamcast emulator called Redream, and it's so good. It like upscales everything into HD, and like honestly, games that I own, I will not play on my Dreamcast because they just look so much better in Redream. And it's crazy what that can do to games. So, like, with you saying you want to own a Saturn and a Dreamcast, I would put that focus on getting a Saturn because there's still no good emulators for Saturn. Like, it's impossible to properly emulate the Saturn.
That is the order. The order is Saturn, Dreamcast, GameCube, like in that order. I really feel like I missed out on the Saturn because at that point we were just pure PlayStation in the house. No N64, no nothing. And there was a lot of games on the Saturn that I would have liked to have played through.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. And
I like the controller too. I really like that controller.
It's like my favorite non-3D game controller.
Yeah, with no joysticks. It's just I think it's just a solid. Not the one that looks like a CD player.
Oh, that's the 3D one, the analog. I've never actually used that one before.
The one that's kind of got the like controller shape.
Yeah,
the 6 buttons.
Yeah, the clicky 6 buttons. It's got the R and the L. It's
the
beautiful.
Clicky R.
Not the fat one either. I mean, you might like the fat one because you like the bigger hand controllers.
I might have to check out a couple, but the one I'm pretty sure we played it at your place. You have a white one, I think it is. Those are good ones.
That's the Japanese style ones. Yeah. And then I guess the last thing I want to say with the GameCube is, and forgot to mention, as far as like really good games that are kind of like trapped on the GameCube, is do you remember? So this would be like an N64 thing, but do you remember like how big Rogue Squadron was like back in the day, like Star Wars Rogue Squadron?
Yes. Yeah, to a degree.
Yeah, so it was on PC, but it was really, really good on the N64. Well, not many people know about them, but they released like 2 or 3 more Rogue Squadron games on the GameCube, and they're really fucking good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Those were never really. Those are the ones where you like fly the X-wing and the TIE fighter kind of thing. Right? Yeah, they've never really been my thing because I always have a problem with like actually. It might be different on a console.
Yeah, it is. It's really good.
When we went back to the PC, man, I can't do it.
Yeah, no, they were really, really good. They were so good. Like I have one of them on GameCube, and it's so good. And I kind of want to get a GameCube emulator working really well because it's so hard. Like playing those on like an HD TV, they just look like dark and kind of shitty and stuff. Yeah. So on an emulator that upscales it properly, those games would be just beautiful to play.
No kidding.
Yeah.
But have to check that one out too.
Yeah, we got more than we thought we would get out of this episode.
That's right.
Like. Yeah. Because neither of us really grew up with it, but we grew up around it, kind of ish.
Yeah,
we knew people that had them.
I grew up adjacent to my older brother owned those systems. I didn't own a Dreamcast, but I don't honestly, dude. I didn't touch a Dreamcast until we played it at your place that one time.
Yeah,
it's something that even my friends at the time, like everyone had a PlayStation. Everyone had a PS2.
Everybody had a PS2.
Right?
I feel like everybody had a PS2, and then a lot of people also had an Xbox, is what it kind of came down to.
Yeah, that's what it ended up rolling out into, right?
Yeah.
Xbox was 2002, I think it was, so...
Oh, another thing about the Dreamcast is it had a lot of peripheral controllers, and I think they were trying to spin off of the Saturn's success with light guns, because you had light gun controllers. But what I want to get like Sega Bass Fishing and get that fishing rod controller, because that would be sweet. I've always wanted to use that.
That was supposed to be a really fun game.
Yeah, I've always wanted to use that. But yeah, I feel like the next episode is going to be an absolute banger because we both grew up. I didn't have the Xbox, but everybody I knew had one, and we both kind of grew up playing like the PS2, and it was just such an incredible console, one of the best of all time. I
would agree. Yeah, I would.
Is it still like the best selling console, or has PS4 perhaps past it?
You know what? I think the Wii. The
Wii was fucking on fire.
The Switch might have also outsold it. Let's see, best selling game console, and
hopefully, and like Game Boy might have even outsold it. But if we're talking not handhelds, like actual full.
Oh no, you know what? It is still the PlayStation 2. The PlayStation 2 units sold 155 million units sold on the PS2.
That's insane. What's second? What's in second?
Nintendo DS.
Oh, I believe that. That makes sense.
154.2 million.
So how far behind is it than the
Then
PS4?
The Switch at 139.
Wow.
Game Boy and Game Boy Color at 118. PS4 at 117.
Yeah, PS4 is doing good, man.
PS4 has been, well, I mean, like, look, man, who's going to buy PS5? There's no freaking games for it.
No, that's true. People are still buying PS4s.
Dude, we're 4 years out from, did it not come out in 2020? When did PS5 drop? 2021?
I want to say it was 2020. It might have been even.
Is it your 2020 or 2021? It was right around there. And, dude, like,
we're 3 years deep, and there's no reason for us to buy it.
According to this list, this is 2020. According to this list, the PS5's only sold 50 million.
Yeah.
Right? So almost triple the amount sold on the PS4, which makes sense considering the length of time it's been out. But honestly, dude, like, that's insane. The PS3 in its lifespan only sold 87 mil.
Yeah, PS3 didn't do great though. Like I remember when the PS3 came out, and people were it was a rough sell. People were kind of relating it to the Saturn because it was really hard to develop for, which is the same as the Saturn.
Yeah, the cell. What was it? The cell technology or whatever.
Cell processor, blast processing, basically.
Dude, for real. The thing is that until the PS5 comes out with some games where it's like I have to have that. I don't, and you got to do better than Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm sorry, that's just not going to cut it for me.
The new trailer, there were some things that looked good, but
I want to rant so hard right now. The thing about Final Fantasy VII Remake 2, and I know you and Alex had spoken about this on the other podcast. The thing about Final Fantasy VII Remake 2, it looks like a fun game.
Yeah, it does.
It does not look like Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Those things should have been separated. It should have been whatever they wanted this game to be. Final Fantasy, out in the world, spirits unclaimed, Sephiroth is your best bud ghost guy now, whatever they wanted it to be.
I think that's from the Calm flashback, to be fair, but
that should have been this own little bubble, and then they should have made Final Fantasy VII Remake and then just done it the way they should have upscaled the graphics, put in the new music, added in the voice, and moved on with their lives.
Yeah, have the same graphics that Remake has now.
Go ahead and release it in 3 discs or whatever you're going to do. 3 releases. Disc 1, Disc 2, Disc 3.
But do the actual full first disc in the first one.
Dude. Like,
this one looks like it's going to end at the end of the first disc.
Right, but it's still only got half the content.
I know. That's what's crazy. Like, it looks like it's going to take 2 discs to do 1 disc, and they're charging full fucking game price for both of them, whereas the other one you paid $69.99 for the entire experience.
And you're not allowed to play as Sid or Vincent. That's unacceptable.
Yeah, that's dumb as shit.
It's just no.
It's bad. The mini games look fun. The mini games look fun in it.
The whole game looks fun, but it does not look like Final Fantasy VII. That's my biggest gripe about it.
I think it looks like Final Fantasy VII, but it looks like a bastardized Final Fantasy VII.
Exactly. Yeah. What I was about to say. You can't just stick the characters in the world in here and change everything else. Mm-hmm. That's not how it works. You can't make a Halo remake and put Master Chief in bright pink armor where he's best friends with the Covenant now. Right? Yeah. You can't do that. It's not the same game anymore. It's now something completely different.
Yeah.
Right? And there's nothing wrong with making it completely different.
But don't advertise it. Yeah.
Don't market it as it's the same game you used to play, but it's better now. We upgraded it. People spoke for years. People spoke for years. They used it as a tech demo, I believe, for the PS3.
Yep.
As the remake for Final Fantasy VII is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Look how amazing it looks, and people went nuts. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until after when they were getting prepped to release remake, they were like, well, we kind of changed the story. Well,
I don't even think they said it until after the game was out.
It was too late. It was too late when they said we kind of changed things.
Because even like Alex Soldier, who I do like the other podcast with, he had a review copy of 7R. And it was in the contract to not mention anything about like the ending part of the game or like the changes and stuff like that. Yep. So like they hit it intentionally.
They did it on purpose, and that's what makes me upset, right? And go ahead, Square Enix fans, come at me and say that I'm wrong. But here's the problem: is you get what you put into it. If you continue to buy and support these games,
they're going to keep.
Then you'll continue to getting these games.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I will guarantee you, ask yourself, heart of hearts, is this the Final Fantasy game I expected?
No.
And if you say yes, hey, you know what? All the power to you. But it was definitely not the game that I expected.
Yeah.
Does it look good? Yep. Does it look fun? Yeah, it does look fun, but it does not look like the game I was promised.
Yeah. That's a really good way of putting it. And I mentioned on the other podcast, it's called The Gaming Effect, by the way. If you guys only watch or listen to this one, check out The Gaming Effect as well. But we one of the things I mentioned on that podcast was how literally every single one of my friends who were Final Fantasy VII fans growing up have zero or less than zero interest in playing the remakes. And one of them's right there. Right there.
I was stupid. So I bought remake because I was like, no, they wouldn't have done me dirty like that.
Well, there was nothing indicating that they would have until after the game was out.
I had the pre-order, it was paid for, everything was ready to rock and roll, and it wasn't until I got into it. Honestly, even the first bit, like you can tell they had a massive change. The first bit of the game where you jump off the train, and you work your way through the reactor, and you blow that reactor up.
And then they change they do like a false flag attack thing, and then you see Sephiroth.
From that point forward, all of a sudden it was like, what the hell's going on? What do you mean? What is this? And they made a lot of choices. It was a design decision. They're the company that makes it. They can do that. I just feel that if you were going to give us what you marketed to us, that it would have been a better game.
I think they could have avoided a lot of the backlash if they would have called it like a reboot or a reimagining, like right off 100%. The gate.
If they would have identified that it's not. It's in the phrasing remake because they're like, well, we never said it was a remaster. It's a remake. No.
A remake and a remaster are different too. A remaster is what you can play Final Fantasy IX on the Switch right now, remastered. You can play Final Fantasy VIII though. Yeah, exactly. That's remastered. That's remastering the original thing. Like, what are the things called? Like files and everything.
I expect a remake where you remake the assets. You do not remake the story. It's not a rewrite.
Not a reboot.
It's not a redesign or a reboot. It is a remake. You are remaking the game to current day standards.
And people, I think, forget because before this game came out, that is what remake meant. And now you have people being like, oh, no, remake just means it's being remade in a different way. No, that's not what that has ever meant until these fucking Final Fantasy VII Remake fans started saying that.
That's what they told you. That's what they told you it means.
After they charged you full price for a game you thought you were getting and fucked you in the ass. That's what they told you.
It
meant.
The biggest thing that I see, I know we're way off the rails from our original topic, but the biggest thing I see with Square Enix is that they are trying so hard to break away from being a JRPG company.
Yeah.
They don't want to be a JRPG company anymore, in my opinion. I think that they would like to see their games shift away into the next Call of Duty, into the next kind of game that
or
they
like
can
Uncharted
create one
or something like that.
They can create one game and they can just keep adding a new
I see what you mean. And that's essentially what they're doing with
that's what they're trying. They keep trying all of these new games that they're pushing out. Look at them all. They're all carbon copies of games that exist somewhere else in the world.
Yeah, like
that
the Splatoon one.
They're trying to leech fans from those places
but
so
you
that
could
they can sell you this game. And they can sell you on a battle pass.
You could even argue that aside from like the shitty like Chocobo GP and like fucking The First Soldier and like all these shitty like straight up games as a service games, you could almost argue that the Final Fantasy remake saga now is a games as a service fucking thing.
Giant,
because they're just stringing you along. Here's a little bit more, buy it. Here's a little bit more, buy it. Here's a little bit more. You want to know what happens? We started fucking with shit. You want to know how bad we fucked it up? You're gonna have to buy it.
That's exactly where we're at, right? Who's to say that the next game's going to be the quote unquote just 2, right?
Nah, it won't be.
Who knows? They could be like, you know what? We're going to take this till I don't know, Gold Saucer. There you go. This whole game is you playing the arcade games at the Gold Saucer. $90, please. Yeah. You know what? Not only is it $90, but every time you want to play one of these games, it's 99 cents. Also, if you want to play the Mog game, do you want pink Mogs? Well, that's $5. Would you like a green one? That's another $5.
But even if they don't
DLC,
but even if they don't do something like that, I'm talking the fact that they've releasing parts of the game as individual full game releases. And charging you and stringing you along that way.
The standard has been set.
Yeah.
Right? The standard is set. This is now the process. I was ready to go. You know what? You're going to release this game in 4, 5, 6 chapters. Fine. So be it. But if the game quality has to be there, and it has to have that hit of nostalgia. Yeah. When I played through Remake, the hits of nostalgia came from the music and came from the few scenes that they ripped out of OG Final Fantasy VII and put into this game. Cloud looking up at the reactor before they run in to blow it up. Right. Nostalgia. Right?
Yeah.
All of stuff like that, that's where it comes in. You cannot make that game and sell it purely on fun value because people are not buying Final Fantasy VII Remake purely just for that. Here's the fun mini games and stuff we added into the game.
Yeah.
No, I want Final Fantasy VII. That's what you told me it was going to be.
Yeah.
Right? Like I said, you can't remake Halo and change the story of Halo and all the different pieces of inside of Halo.
Exactly.
And then be like, no, why don't you like it? Master Chief's in it. Duh.
Yeah, she's in it.
Exactly.
Master Chief, she's right there.
She's right there. Right? We took Cortana out of the game because Cortana was a female robot, and we didn't like the way that was going to go. So now instead of Cortana, we've got this floating little fairy that goes around your head, going, "Hey, how's it going? Hey,
listen,
how's it going?
Hey,
how's it going? Hey, how's it going?" Like leave the old games. Leave the old games alone. If that's what you're going to do, leave the old games alone.
Don't even remake
Make your new game. Make your Final Fantasy 16.
But
look how good that game sold. There's no possible way that you can sit here and tell me that this is the right direction. You can't say, no, this is what the fans want. No, it's not.
The other thing I'd like to mention, because like we're shitting on like a specific remake here, but if you look at what they've done with like the Resident Evil remakes, they are globally like loved, like above the classics. So it's like it keeps all the story points. It keeps all it delves into them more. It improves upon them, but it doesn't change what the story was. It doesn't. And they're releasing as a full fucking game. You're getting all of Resident Evil 2 if you buy the Resident Evil 2 remake.
It's the difference between a company that is trying to make money and a company that wants to do like to give their fans something, right?
Yeah. Obviously both are trying to make money, but like I know what you mean.
If the focal point is nothing
just
but
to grab money,
they knew all along since Final Fantasy VII released. They knew re-releasing the game will net them a stupid amount of money. Ask anybody who played Final Fantasy VII back in the day. Ask any one of them how many copies they own. I can tell you myself, just me, I probably have 5 copies of that game.
Oh yeah,
you're talking original
like
PS1.
Yeah.
100%. I've got my original PS1. I've got one on my PS3. I've got one in a combo pack somewhere in that box full of games back there. I've got one on my Switch, and I've got one on Steam.
Yeah.
I've bought that game that many times because it's worth it, in my opinion. I will not buy another remake Final Fantasy VII game. They got me on the first one. I'm done. I'm out. Sorry, you had me in the first half, but now you don't anymore.
Yeah.
Right. I look at what happened with Final Fantasy 16, right? And I think at the time that they haven't actually released any numbers since the original time. They said they sold 3 million copies of the game
in like the first week or something, or
in the first
2 weeks.
Like whatever it was, and it's literally been silent since.
Yep.
That game showed up, that game disappeared, and everyone forgot all about it.
Yeah.
It is the telltale sign of a game that is not good. Sorry, it might have been fun to play.
It might have been good, but it's not Final Fantasy game.
It's not Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. And I have people come to me and they're like, "Oh, you're an old gamer. You're just stuck in the ways of how it used to be. You can't open your eyes to how gaming is now." Well, sorry, gaming is terrible now.
Yeah.
Gaming is all about how much money you can spend in that game to maybe get the best stuff. Gaming now is about taking something that you love and fitting it into a box like Fortnite. That's gaming now. Gaming now isn't unique.
It's heartless.
Isn't brand new. It's just the same stuff repackaged and resent over and over and over again. I'm not saying every game has to be a JRPG. I'm saying that if Final Fantasy built its fan base on JRPG, then it should stay in that sandbox.
Yeah, unless it's a spin-off. Do what you want with a spin-off.
Stray slightly. Look at the difference between Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They changed things. They tweaked things. They added a job class. They took the job class away. They added this in. They added that in. They changed it. That's fine. But at the heart of the game, it always stayed the same.
Yeah.
Right? The fundamentals of the game stayed the same.
Yeah.
And as time progressed and that got removed, so did the fans. And you can sit here and you can say that, oh no, it's fantastic, it's amazing, it's the best game I ever played.
As good as it's ever been.
Who's currently playing it right now?
Yeah.
Who's currently talking about how amazing Final Fantasy 16 is?
Nobody.
It's dead silent.
Yeah.
It is dead silent. Final Fantasy 15 was significantly better.
Yeah.
And people
don't even talk about 15 all that much either.
People don't even talk about 15 all that much.
Greatest fishing game ever made, though. Greatest fishing game ever made.
There's a lot. I think we should do a topic on this, the state of gaming at eventual point. Or maybe bring me in over to your other side there, and we'll chat with Alex.
I want to do. I definitely down the road want to do maybe after, I guess Rebirth comes out soon, but I want to do and kind of walk through your experience of Remake, because when I played the bit that I played, I didn't play it from a place of love to begin with. You know what I mean? Because like I'm not a huge Final Fantasy VII guy. You
were going in critical.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, it was a fun play. I enjoyed it. The combat's fun. It is, but it's not. It doesn't. The thing is, like I said, I hated the pieces. You didn't like that? I didn't mind it. Right? It's not. But you have to take yourself out of the concept of it being what it was before. Yeah. It is a completely different game. And as soon as you put that hat on, you go, no, this is not Final Fantasy. This is something else. Yeah. All of a sudden, the game's significantly better. The parts that I hate is it was severely padded for the sake of extending the game out. Yep. That's it. Like, it was so heavily stretched because they wanted to push this first one out, I personally think, to gauge interest.
Yeah.
And they knew that if they sold this copy out, and they didn't tell you that they were going to do it this way, that their numbers would skyrocket. Mm-hmm. They would have the proof they need to build the second game, and then they could continue pushing this narrative, right? They can continue pushing this way through. Look at the sales numbers from number 1 to number 2. That's what I'm going to be watching when this game releases.
I'm very curious. to see.
Because I will promise you,
there's going to be a big drop off.
It's got Final Fantasy VII in the title. It's gonna sell. It's going to sell. Period. That's how it's going to work. However, look at the difference between 1 and 2, because I promise you, there's more folks like me than there are folks that will stick with it. The people who stick with it, guess what? The sales numbers for this game, I expect to be fully in line with Final Fantasy 16. I expect to be fully in line with all of these new games that they release, because it's the same people who buy every single game, because I must support the company. If I don't support the company, they'll stop making my games.
Even though they kind of stopped making your games after Final Fantasy X.
They don't make your games anymore. You can't just accept the fact that they are releasing something. I'm not supporting Pokemon anymore. Pokemon put those DLCs out. Buying those DLCs. I'm not buying a new game until they figure out what they want to do with it. They got to get it sorted out. You want perfect example of how bad people want a good Pokemon game? Go look at the sales numbers of Pal World. You go look at the numbers of people playing Pal World right now. And I tell you, as somebody who loves Pokemon and hates base building games, that game almost got me to buy a copy. If it wasn't so heavy into base building, I probably would have bought a copy of it too. That's how bad people want a good Pokemon game. It doesn't even have freaking Pokemon in it, and people are buying it in droves. That's all that they would have to do. But they can't do that, because that would take a level of challenge and effort and money and taking a risk on something that they don't know is a sure thing. And that's why Sega failed.
And that's why the Dreamcast.
That's why the Dreamcast failed. No, it's not. But yeah, anyway, sorry.
Thanks
Huge
a lot.
Rant at the end there.
No, it's good. Sorry. Thanks a lot for watching or listening. If you're listening to this on Spotify and you want to see the video version, it's always up on YouTube as well. If you're watching this on YouTube and you want to listen to it in your car or whatever, feel free to look us up on Spotify. It's just under Relaxed Retro Talk. And be sure to thumb up, give the old subscription, and you can check us out on Twitch as well, up above, twitch.tv/Dukey03.
And twitch.tv/DGonline.
And I've been doing my streams on YouTube as well, so you can check them out right here on YouTube. But for Mike, be sure to check him out on Twitter. On Twitch. Come and see me on Twitter. No, and also the best way to stay in touch with us is to join the Discord. Right? Yeah, so, the link is down in the comments or in the
click on that
description.
Link. Come and talk with us. We have a very active Discord community, and we'd love you to be part of it. So come on over.
Have a good one, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.